Hi, I'm Jasmine Norrie, and this is the Pricing on the Cake.
Welcome to episode 15 of the Pricing on the Cake, the podcast that's all about growing a profitable business confidently. I'm Courtney Rogers, and today I'm joined by a client and great friend of mine, Jasmine Norrie. Jazz, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. So, Jazz, could you please introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I am Jasmine, and I am both the founder and designer behind my business, Wicker Darling, and I design figural wicker bags.
Amazing. And for those of us who don't know, because I remember when I first met you, I had no idea what that meant. Can you describe what figural wicker bags are for us?
All right, it's a wicker bag, but in the shape of something rather than just a bag. So in my case, it is wicker bags that are designed in the shape of chiefly animals, but occasionally fruit. So it's the shape of a flamingo, the shape of an elephant. So it looks like you're just holding a wicker elephant, basically, but it's got a little surprise because, it has handles and you can keep all of your handbag contents inside it.
Yeah, perfect. No, I love the products and how like vibrant and colorful and creative they are. And as some people know, and as you know, Jazz, like I have Percy the peacock, who is a peacock handbag, and he's absolutely beautiful. I took him out for the first time the other day to a networking event, and he was absolutely like the most popular person in the room. It was really, really nice. And someone, while they were speaking, held him up in front of everyone to use him as an example for something. So there you go. Your products are absolutely stand out. And you've come a long way in your business too, Jazz, and you haven't been running the business for that long. You only started in 2018.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your business journey, how you started and, how you got to where you are now?
It's come a long way, and it's sort of like right now I've been having a few conversations over the last week about I don't know if I ever truly expected the business to succeed. I don't know. You're optimistic that you'll do well and it'll succeed. And we've just reached this point where, we're discussing becoming a company and not just me as a sole trader. And I'm just sort of, oh my God,
never expected this to happen.
I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. And now it's all happening. And I'm just sort of, oh, this is big, important, and quite a change. So back in 2018, when I was toying with the idea of doing this, I guess it's hard to say what I was thinking again. I wanted a flamingo bag. I'm a handbag collector. I have been for more than a decade. Specifically with the wicker bags, and I just had not been able to find a wicker flamingo, and I really felt compelled to have a wicker flamingo. As you know, I'm and I just felt this would be a really great accessory for me. It was missing from my collection. Couldn't find one anywhere, and I just thought it can't be that hard to design this, have it made. And it comes back to what you said about you enter a room with one of these handbags and there's people really respond quite positively to that. And I've had that experience, not just with my designs, but with the handbags I was collecting earlier. And so I was quite confident that if I had this pink flamingo wicker handbag, I would be able to sell it. I was really confident that I'd be able to sell this handbag if I did it. So I was justifying it to myself. I was justifying it to friends and family, and eventually I went ahead with it. And it took a long, long time to find a manufacturer that was able to specifically do this style of bag. There's not a lot of manufacturers doing this specific kind of work. And yeah, it's just sort of taken off from there, because once you've got the flamingo, everybody is saying, well, can you do a dog? Can you do a cat? Can you do
absolutely
a toucan? All these other things. And I was just taking notes of what everybody wanted, and it went from there.
And took it from there. I love the fact that you even though it started out as a personal thing for you, you really wanted a flamingo bag, you then responded to market demand. And one of the most common things I see with a lot of people who get into business is they come up with this idea that they really love, and they have no idea. They don't check whether there's actual market demand for their product, and they end up not being able to sell it because there's no market demand. So, the fact that you listen so closely to your audience and to your customers about what they wanted is awesome, right? Because you're responding to demand, you're giving the people what they want. I think that's a really key part of your success.
Yeah, I previously ran a custom skirt business and it involved a lot of the same thing. It was listening to what people were telling me they wanted. So I was always out there sourcing fabric based on what people wanted.
Mm,
And I think in a way, it's exactly the same thing. It's all these people are saying, I'd love a dinosaur print fabric.
mm.
I'm just sort of like, okay, well, we're getting multiple requests for this. This is something I'm going to go and do. And I would do that. And really, this is no different. And for me, also, it's just sort of like, well, I got my flamingo. So from here, I don't care what I'm designing. It's what people are asking me for. I'm sort of, obviously I'm invested in it. But the important thing is I got my flamingo. So now I can afford what everybody else wants, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. And I want to talk a little bit now about, the way that you have changed, the way your mindset has changed over a period of time. Because, of course, when I met you, the business was still in five figures. And, now we're looking at reaching the 500,000 mark this year. And that is super, super exciting. And not only is it a short period of time, but that's a lot of change for a business and a business owner to go through,
Oh,
over just a few years. Can you tell us a bit about, what the changes have been for you, like personally, and, what was it, do you think, that made that big change in terms of where the business was before and what things have been put in place that have helped you get to where the business is now?
so when I first met you, I was still very much doing this just on my own, and I was doing
Mm,
pretty much everything. I think maybe a month before I met you, I had just hired an accountant, and
mhm,
that was because at that time I was starting to make a lot more money than I had anticipated
mhm.
or given any thought to making.
Yeah.
Um, and I was just looking at these horrible, like I didn't even have accounting programs. I was relying on spreadsheets.
Oh, no.
Like I think with the flamingo, like I'd only sold about 20 of them, and then I sold an
Mhm,
ibis next, and it was another 20 bags or something like that. And it
mhm.
was such a small number of bags, and it wasn't monthly. It was just
Yeah.
whenever I sort of had a new design, I was like, okay, well, this is on the market. So it was very
Here's what we got.
hodgepodge.
Mm,
Wasn't making too much money, but obviously as things started to come along, I was starting to get on top of the design progress. So trying to have that routine of we are going to release a new bag once every month.
mhm.
And so when we started getting on top of that, the
Mm,
money became a lot more regular,
yeah.
which was starting to stress me out because we're getting to tax time and I did not know how that was going to work
Mhm,
as a sole trader. So I hired this accountant,
mhm.
and she sorted me out quick smart, which was great.
Good, good.
That was
Yes.
fantastic. And I think from there, it was just like, okay, well, I've got a much clearer overview of what is happening with my finances now. Can I afford to talk to more people for help and start delegating some of this work? And I think that's been the biggest change is me stepping back and not trying to do everything myself. Like there are
Mhm.
professionals out there who can do this particular task a lot more efficiently than I can. They have the
Mm,
experience, they have the time, it frees up my time to do other things.
yeah.
So it's been handing over control of everything. So again, when I first started working with you, I was doing the photography on my own and it was not ideal photography for the products we're trying to market.
Mm,
Like I knew that I wanted these bags to be a luxury product, and here's me
yeah.
holding up a I was getting my son to hold up a handbag in front of something, and then I'm sort of like photoshopping the background out and just adding a pink background. It was pretty rough. Um,
Mm,
so by hiring professionals, by contracting them, all of that, you're paying professionals to do the work, you get a professional thing, and it just ups the sort of level that you're working at, basically. So
yeah.
yeah, I think
Ab
that's been the biggest
absolutely.
change for me is talking to people, getting that expert help.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right in terms of the fact that when you do that, it frees up your time, right? It
Mm,
lifts like the perceived value and the quality of everything because you're getting people who are experts to do those things. I mean, I know nothing about admin. I'm really bad at admin. You know this. I mess up like calendar invitations and time zones and things all the time. And that's why, I'll have a VA manage it for me sometimes. And by having that another expert come in and help me with something that I'm not strong in or I'm not an expert in, I end up saving time. I end up saving money as well. And then I don't have to worry about it. And you
mm,
mentioned as well, you use the word control in there, like giving up control. That is really hard to do as a business owner, as you know. It's
yeah,
so hard because your business is your baby and it all rides on you and you feel that risk. But ultimately, and this goes for everyone listening, if you want your business to grow, you really need to be comfortable with the idea of handing over parts of your business to someone you trust. Right. You cannot control all of your business. Like if you think about Richard Branson and Virgin, his company Virgin, he does not have control over every single aspect of his business. He doesn't. You look at his emails, his social media, his content, whatever. He doesn't have control over that. It's all managed by other people. And so
mm,
if you want to grow your business into those bigger, 6 and 7 figures, you're going to have to bring in people who you can trust to help you grow it because there does come a point, as you found out, Jazz, where you can't do it by yourself anymore. Like you need that help.
yeah. And for me, it's also like the results that you get are just superior when it's handed over
Mm.
to a professional. Like I could try and teach myself SEO, but gosh, that's a big investment of my time. And it's not what I want to be doing. I
Yeah.
don't want to be figuring out the SEO, but I take on somebody who is a professional in this, who gets a thrill out of it and actually understands what they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, you know, what I might spend a week trying to figure out, she knows it, she does it in 5 minutes.
Yep. Yep.
So it's efficient all round for everybody. And it's worth it for me to have those results because obviously her expertise in SEO is driving results for
Mm.
me.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. And it's better results than what you would get as someone who doesn't know
Exactly.
SEO as well. Even if you spend 3 hours doing something, A, she could have done it in 10 minutes and B, the result is going to be much better if she does it.
Yeah.
And I'm the same with SEO as well. Like I'm not a superstar at it. And so I'm with you on that. Like I need an expert to come in and sort that out for me.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really, really awesome. And now, because this is a pricing podcast, I want to ask you, Jazz, what has been your biggest pricing lesson or biggest pricing mindset change for you? And it can be one thing, it can be a few things if you like.
Oh, there's obviously been a lot of learning since you came on board. Um, it's that complete abandoning of that whole this is how I should price. This is what the cost that's what it's called, isn't it? The
Mm.
cost pricing.
Cost plus pricing, yeah.
Just completely abandoning that and leaving it behind. I can remember when I first started the business going into one of those Facebook business groups and saying to people, how do you figure out these prices? And getting 20
Mm.
responses from different people who are allegedly experts in doing this. And they're
Hmm.
all reliant on cost pricing. And they're saying to me, well, you take what the cost price was, what you paid your manufacturer,
Mm.
and you triple it. So
Hmm.
when you've doubled it, that's your wholesale price, and when you tripled it, that's your price. That's what you should be pricing. And
Hmm.
that's all it really factors in. And they might occasionally say, oh, well, you want to factor in what are your overheads? And they
Mm.
sort of throw that in. And for me, it was just I was doing all of this and I was obeying those formulas. And I was just struggling because I'm not getting ahead. I'm the sort of all right, well, I'm surviving, the business is going
Mm.
ahead, but I would really like to pay a professional photographer and I don't seem to have the
Mm.
funds for it. And I don't understand why I don't have enough money to pay myself and my manufacturers and get a photographer.
Yep.
And it's because cost pricing doesn't always factor for growth,
Yep.
is I figured out along the way, or what you've taught me.
I was just
Um,
going to say, oh, it's like hearing my own words coming out of your mouth.
So that sort of thing, I didn't know any of that. And it's interesting now because obviously I have a lot of friends running their own businesses and everything. And whenever we have
Mm.
pricing conversations, and they start doing these things. You know, one of them was trying to raise her prices, and she was agonizing on how to word these posts for social media about, I'm
Yeah.
going to raise my prices. I hope I don't lose customers. I don't know how to phrase this without justifying all of this, that, and the other. And I'm just saying to her, why are you justifying it? You know, it costs what it costs. It's
Yep.
not about how you justify, you know, the cost of this has gone up and the cost of this has gone up, which means I have to sort of raise my prices to cover these things. And I'm just,
Exactly.
you don't mention that. That's no one's
Yep.
business. That's for you.
That's
Um,
proprietary.
yeah, basically. So I've just sort of had to learn that myself, because I know when I think the reason I reached out to you, because I was trying to figure out how to,
Free
um,
shipping.
it was the free shipping. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like,
It was the
how
free
do
shipping
I
question.
introduce free shipping, but also sort of cover the fact that the prices have gone up by the
Yep.
cost of the shipping?
Yep. I
How do I
remember. I
achieve
remember it
this
very well.
goal? Yeah, so it was that sort of thing. I was just like, oh gosh, how do I do this? Because it's just swapping the price from here to here, and I don't know how to justify that. And in the
Mm.
end, we've done a lot. We've gone a lot past that
Yes.
together. So that's great. But that's where I was at, and where I am now is very, very different.
Mm. Awesome. Awesome. Oh, well, Jazz, thank you so much for coming on to the show today and sharing with us, a bit more about your journey and about, the changes that you've gone through to get your business to where it is now. If anyone would like to contact you or find out more about Wicker Darling, how can they do that?
I always suggest go onto Instagram, find us there at Wicker Darling. That's the way to get the best overview of what's going on, I think.
Amazing. And it's a beautiful, beautiful Instagram account. Very funny. The stories are always so good. I love going through them. They're very entertaining. All right, so that is episode 15, all wrapped up on the pricing on the cake. Don't forget, you can find more free resources in my free Facebook group, The Pricing on the Cake. If you do want to reach out to me or have any questions about today's show or any of the other episodes, email me anytime at courtney@courtneydeegan.com, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.